sequence that road to your far left-hand side, just to make sure we have room for the entire party.
You know what I love this about this?
So my friends on the right-hand side, got your hands, arms, feet, and legs. Your doors are going to be sliding shut. Thank you so much, Morgan. Jumbo, everyone, and welcome aboard Kilimanjaro Drown Safaris today. My name is Haley, and I'm going to be your guide as we make our way into the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. But before we get started out here on our journey, I have a couple of very important safety reminders first. Number one is to remain fully and completely seated at all times, even while the truck is not in motion. And number two, please keep all of your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck at all times as well. But this will be a photo safari today, so go ahead and have your cameras out and ready to go to take photos or videos of these animals who we may find throughout our journey. Back to But we are starting off today right here in the Little Ituri Forest, which is home to some of nature's most shyest creatures that rely pretty heavily on those natural body markings and camouflage to help them protect themselves a little bit better in the wild, just like this brown animal to the right-hand side today, known as the okapi.
Oh my goodness.
Now, as you can see, the okapi is wearing those zebra party pants with those black and white stripes across its back and legs, which oftentimes make people think okapis are related to the zebra family. However, they are the closest living relative of the giraffe. But just like a giraffe, okapis have a really long prehensile tongue that they'll use to wrap around the branches of the forest with to pull their food off from a little bit easier. But they also rely on that long prehensile tongue to clean their ears, and they'll use that long tongue to lick their very own eyeballs.
What?
Weird.
Now, on the right-hand side, we're going to find this black and white bird just up in the nest here today, known as the saddle-billed stork. There's also another one of those storks right over here to the left-hand side on the edge of the water. Now, these storks might look pretty short, but can stand up to about 5 feet tall and have a wingspan of about 9 feet wide. But these birds don't have any vocal cords, which is probably why they mate for life. Now, on the left-hand side, we're going to find the smallest rhino species in Africa today, known as the black rhinoceros. Now, the black rhino may be the smallest rhino species found in Africa, but it is not a small animal, as it weighs about 3,000 pounds on the average. Over to the right-hand side, if you look really closely right through these bushes here, there are a couple of gray-colored antelopes sitting down, known as the greater kudu. But a little bit higher up on the hill up there, there are a couple of bongos today as well. Now, bongos are also known as the ghost of the forest, as they are rarely ever seen in the wild.
But they were huge.
Now, we got pretty lucky back there to spot that black rhino who was laying down, as at one time, black rhinos were a critically endangered species, as there were less than 5,000 of them that remained on the entire planet. Now, due to conservation efforts and since the year 2015, the black rhino population has since doubled in number, so they are a great example of a conservation success story. But as we had some pretty good luck back there in the forest today, I hope that luck will continue along with us now as we are entering down into these waters of the Safi River. Now, the river up ahead is home to some of these aquatic animals who spend a little bit more time down in the water, which can also make them a bit trickier for us to spot and find, as they may tend to look like a floating rock or a dark shadow underneath the water surface. But on the right-hand side here, just on this island, we're going to find quite a few of the peaked-back pelicans today. Now, these pelicans get their name from a really light pink color that appears on their backs, which becomes a little bit darker throughout their mating seasons. But just over to the left-hand side, we're going to get a pretty good view of a couple of Nile hippopotamus. Now, hippos will spend a majority of their day. Now, make sure that we are remaining fully seated, my friends. My friends, sit down for me, please. Thank you so much. Now, as a reminder, we do have to remain fully seated at all times, even while this truck is not in motion. But the Nile hippopotamus will spend a majority of its day underneath the water as a way to keep from overheating, as they can hold their breath for several minutes before ever coming up for air. But despite their very large size of over 5,000 pounds, hippos are known to outrun a human up on dry land. However, they are just herbivores, as their diets consist mainly of fruits and vegetables, with vegetation, just like grass and hay, mixed into their diets as well.
Oh, you can't see this. Look, right there.
Now, even though we have seen a few herbivores back here in the water today, it looks like just over to our left-hand side, we're going to also come across some carnivores out here scattered throughout these islands. Now, these carnivores today are known as the Nile crocodile, and they are the largest crocodilian found in Africa, as on average, they will grow to be about as long as a giraffe is tall, and they weigh about 500 pounds on the average. Those crocodiles will go up to months at a time without ever eating, and that's because they eat about half of their body weight in just one single feeding. Now, it looks like we are starting to change ecosystems out here once again today, which you can probably tell by this landscape up ahead and how it's opening up quite a bit more. Now, this means that we are making our way into the savanna, which is a mainly flat and very dry piece of land that has very few and minimal trees on it, especially compared back there to the forest and the river that we were just in. But this lack of trees on the savanna also means that those animals that live on it and call it home have to rely pretty heavily on their natural speed and agility to help them evade and protect themselves from any predators who they may face in the wild. Now, it looks like on our right hand side here, we're going to start off today in the savanna with a couple of the Ankole cattle, who are also known as the Watusi cattle, as they were named after the first tribe of people who domesticated them, which were the Watusi tribe in Africa. Now, these horns will grow to be about 4 to 6 feet long in length. However, the weight of these horns is probably a little bit more lighter than you would think, as the weight of them tends to vary depending on how much blood is stored in the horns at any given time. Now, once that blood that's stored up in those horns cools down, it then gets pumped back throughout the cattle's body to help them regulate their body temperature a little bit better so that they can stay nice and cool in the hot savanna weather. Now, on our left-hand side, laying down just underneath that big old tree out there, we're going to find an African painted dog today. Now, the African painted dogs may look pretty similar to hyenas, but they are not related. However, the African painted dogs are one of the most successful predators of the savanna, with a very strong pack mentality to help them hunt their prey down more efficiently. But now, whenever the African panda dogs catch their prey, they will always let the pups in their pack eat first.
Excuse my bag. Right.
Now, also, just to the left-hand side out here, we're going to find some of the sable antelopes right over here on the bottom of this hill today. Now, the sable antelopes are one of the only antelopes that, when in a fight or flight situation, they will always put up a fight to defend themselves against any predators instead of just backing down and running away. But now, in the meantime, it does look like we worked our way into a bit of a traffic jam at the moment while we wait for that giraffe to cross the road just up ahead here. But now, this is a Maasai giraffe, which you can tell by that rough and jagged edge across that lacy pattern scattered throughout the giraffe's body. Tall height, giraffes are still very fast animals who can run up to a speed of 35 miles per hour. I am spotting a few zebras just out there on that hill to the right hand side today, who are the Hartmans mountain zebras. Now you can tell they are the Hartmans mountain zebras with their white underbellies and the thicker black stripes just across those back and legs. But now I also spot another one of those Maasai giraffes over here underneath these palm trees to the left hand side today as well.
Oh, wow, that's a big one.
Now, giraffes are an animal who I like to say that have a lot of love to share and give with those other animals who call the savannah home, as giraffes have some pretty big hearts. In fact, a giraffe's heart is so large that it weighs about 25 pounds just by itself. Now, it looks like we may even get a little bit better view of one of those Hartmans mountain zebras just up ahead here to the right hand side today. Now, they are the only species of zebra who have an Now, I am noticing quite a few trees broken down kind of in this area here to the left hand side. So, this may be a pretty good sign that we might be getting pretty close to some of the African elephants out here. Now, elephants are the largest land mammal to walk the planet, but they are very active creatures that like bulldozing trees down to help them clear a path when migrating and on the hunt for food and water. But they also like bulldozing trees down just for fun most of the time as well. Now, I think that if you can see right over these taller grasses here to the left-hand side, I spot an African elephant pretty far off in the distance, unfortunately, but way out there to the left-hand side. Although a little bit closer by us here, we are making our way around this island still to the left, which is home to these greater flamingos. But now, if you look very closely, you may just notice the shape of this island looks pretty familiar. But the greater flamingos who call it home are the tallest and the lightest shade of pink compared to any other species of flamingos. But when hatched, these birds are naturally gray in color and thin due to a nutrient known as beta carotene, which can be found in a flamingo's everyday diet. That is how they get their pink color over time. Now, white rhinos on the average will weigh about 5,000 pounds in size. However, do not be fooled by that 3,000 or 5,000 pounds of a rhino, as they can run in charge up to a speed of 35 miles per hour. But rhinos face no natural threat from any predators in the wild, as their main threat is from us as humans due to poaching for their horns. Now, it's a long running myth that their horns contain some type of mythical healing power on the inside, so to a speed of about 60 miles per hour. Now, they can even go from a speed of 0 to 60 miles per hour in just about 3 seconds. Now, cheetahs are the only big cat animal who are daytime hunters, do not have retractable claws. Now, it looks like just up here on this large rock formation, we're going to find a couple more big cats today, although these are some who spend most of their days lying around. Now, there is one by this tree here. We can see it pretty well. Who just sat her head up, and then there was also one behind that flatter rock up there. Now, I know that the song says that the lion sleeps tonight, but the lion actually sleeps about 16 to 20 hours out of the daytime. Now, they become a little bit more active throughout those nighttime hours, though, because that eyesight will become almost 6 times more sensitive at night than a human's. But now, when lions do their hunting throughout those nighttime hours, it is usually the lioness who does all of the work. The male lion just prefers to stay back to help protect the cubs and the lion's territory. Now, you might be able to see another one of those lions right up there, kind of underneath that branch that's propped up against that rock there. You can see her face a little bit better there. Still not quite the best view, though, of these big cats today, unfortunately. Now, it looks like just up ahead here off to the right-hand side, you might have already seen this bird back there as we're making our way around those lions, but we are going to find the largest bird in the entire world right over here today, known as an ostrich. Now, even though an ostrich is a bird, they remain completely flightless. Now, they like to use those two very large wings to help them change direction while running. And that being said, an ostrich can run up to a speed of 40 miles per hour.